Takulandilani Zambezi kunotirina mutima wa ubuntu ku Zambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi tirina mutima wa ubuntu ku Zambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi.
Hello, bonjour, good morning. You're listening to the Paradigm Initiative podcast with me, Guillaume Nze. Today we are coming from Lusaka. Today we are speaking to you in Lusaka, Zambia, where the 12th edition of the Digital Rights and Inclusion Forum, organized by Paradigm Initiative, is unfolding. And here at DRIF, we have the 2024 Londa report on digital rights and inclusion in Africa, which has been released by Paradigm Initiative. Londa 24 focuses on 27 different countries across the African continent, providing insights, challenges, and recommendations on the state of affairs in the digital rights and inclusion atmosphere. We have countries like Nigeria, we have Ghana, Senegal, Cameroon, and more. And of course, we have Lesotho, and we have with us here the author for the Lesotho report. She's called Sibongile Mokapane. Hi, Sibongile. How are you today?
Hi, Gio. I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be attending DRIF 25. It's my second DRIF, so I already had a lot of expectation about this forum, and I will say it has been met.
Great. It has been met. We are proud of that. As part of the organizing team, I'm happy to hear you are having that digital Ubuntu experience, which we have been planning to give you from the start. But then let's just dive right in. I want you to just talk a little bit about your country. You know, we see Lesotho on the map every time we see South Africa. So a lot of times there's that oversight. People don't really get to understand. Give us a novice breakdown.
Okay. So I think it's very interesting how you actually highlighted how Lesotho actually has been suffering some invisibility because we're a landlocked country in South Africa, entirely surrounded by South Africa, and a lot of people tend to assume that Lesotho and South Africa is one thing, but we're a very independent, sovereign state. We have a constitutional monarch, which means our king is our head of state, and then our prime minister is our head of government. We have a population of about 2.3 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. Don't let the numeric number fool you, but we are small and very mighty. I think in terms of internet access, I will say it's one key thematic area that I think I would like to applaud our country and all the stakeholders that have contributed to it, because internet penetration is around 48% in Lesotho. So that's a good percentage. I think our private sector, mobile communications sector has been very, very active in terms of erecting mobile towers, also considering our topography, because we're very mountainous in terms of terrain, so it makes it hard in terms of network coverage. But for us to have that number is...
Exactly, that's why I was asking, because when I was looking up, I saw about the geographical context, so I was trying to understand how that affects connectivity.
Yes, because of the topography, we have the highlands and the lowlands. So the mountain ranges in the highlands make it a bit of a challenge in terms of mobile network coverage, but the lowlands are significantly covered, especially the capital city and the surrounding towns. So there is significant coverage in terms of that. I think one issue that we've identified in this report and the previous one is affordability of internet.
Yeah.
So that is one key issue that actually hinders meaningful connectivity in Lesotho. In as much as there is penetration and there's accessibility, but when it comes to inclusion, that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue, because if the average package you can get from our two leading mobile network companies, on average, for broadband connectivity, it costs around 25% of your minimum wage. And Lesotho, as a developing country, is significantly, or at least most of the population is living below the poverty line.
Yeah.
So that's an issue that someone would have to consider, whether they need to buy their monthly groceries or to have access to internet.
Yeah.
And as we've seen, many research has been made and studies. Having internet connectivity is a fundamental right.
Exactly.
You should have it.
Yes.
You cannot be choosing between Wi-Fi and food.
Yeah.
Takulandilani Zambezi kunotirina mutima wa ubuntu ku Zambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi tirina mutima wa ubuntu ku Zambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi.
So, welcome back, dear listener. You're still on the Paradigm Initiative podcast with me, Gio Nzi. Thank you, Sibongile. You were talking about the challenges identified in the Londa report for Lesotho. I know you talked about the cost of internet access. So, what other challenges did you source in this report?
I think one major challenges that I identified was the threat to the right to freedom of expression, in particular media freedom.
Yeah.
The government of Lesotho in 2024, around May, issued a gazette outlawing several music groups, declaring them as terrorist organizations. And this was a measure that we're doing to respond to the high homicide rates that had been reported in the country by different studies. But unfortunately, the impact that the legislation has had on not just freedom of expression of the artists, but also media coverage on the issue, sort of had, well, at least for me, it gave me some sense of concern, great concern, because it looked like it's nothing major, because there isn't intimidation to the media, but it was the threat on how it's censoring media and what they could cover.
Yeah, I like the conversation about media because it's something that cuts across, and it falls in line. We're looking at the Press Freedom Day, which is May 3rd. It's just a couple of days from today, and I think that's something that cuts across. And so I want to ask you, one new thing we're seeing in the Londa report is the score index. So it ranks the different countries that are covered in this report, the 27 countries, based on the level of false news criminalization, based on internet shutdowns, based on AI and emerging technologies and all of that. And this score index is important because then it puts the countries not against one another but next to each other, so you can see which country is doing better and which can take lessons. So I was checking for your country on the scorecard or the score index, and Lesotho was not among the top 5. I was like, I was enthusiastic. It wasn't among the top 10. It's not among the top 15. What do you make of this ranking vis-a-vis the reality on the ground?
It's very unfortunate from how it looks on the report, because it's scored a 31 out of 60. Yeah. I think if you're to calculate it, of which a lot of people might perceive it on the surface level, that it's a good 50%. I think what's happening on the ground is it doesn't feel like there's much tension because you're a very peaceful country, so there isn't much conflict or any interference everyday level in terms of media freedoms and internet shutdowns. Those are things we're not experiencing. However, the greatest challenge is the inaction in terms of lack of laws and the implementation of laws and policies when they've been developed.
So, well, it's not like you don't need to bother. I think there's a whole lot that needs to be done. But there are 27 countries, at least Lesotho is not the last, and it's not among the last 5 or 10. But I agree with you, there's definitely room for improvement, which brings us to recommendations. So the Londa report, what are those recommendations which you think the different stakeholders have to take into account?
I think, like you're saying, definitely it has to be multi-sectoral and holistic to cover the different issues that the report has identified. So in terms of government needs to be proactive in terms of developing and enacting sufficient laws that covers the existing gaps, but also the laws must also be contextual, because there's a trend that we see that there's a lot of copy and paste of laws and policies of different countries, but we need contextual laws and policies, and then we need political will in terms of implementation. Then we need support from other stakeholders, whether it's the private sector or CPOs, in terms of funding, financing, investing, or maybe even technical support, so that we actually make frameworks that will cover the existing issues and also address the challenges and gaps, but also find a way to collaborate and use opportunities in terms of partnerships that we build. How do we also make them considerate and intersectional in terms of different groups, where marginalized groups or vulnerable groups, in particular children and women, undeserved communities. Just we need these frameworks that we develop to be very considerate of those contexts.
So thank you very much. Everyone definitely needs to play their part, and you're here with us at Drift 25 in Lusaka, Zambia. You are playing your own part. You've done the Londa report, you're playing your part, and it is our hope that the different stakeholders actually take these recommendations into account. So we would really want to see you at Drift 26, and we'll talk about Londa 25. And I'm with you on this. Lesotho will definitely need to go up the card. Why not first? I mean, it's not unachievable. It's something that's very possible.
Yes. Yes, I do look forward to Drift 26. Hopefully, I'll also be contributing to Londa 25. And hopefully, Londa 25 will show some significant improvements on the issues that the Londa 24 has outlined and highlighted. But also, the Londa report is going to be a good tool in my advocacy work and all the actors in the space to help government address these challenges that we've identified.
Thank you very much, Sibongile. We are glad to have had you on the podcast, and as you go on, keep enjoying your day. We hope you enjoy the rest of your stay here at the Digital Rights and Inclusion Forum, Drift 25.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm also very excited that I'll be attending one of the Drill Fellows session. I'm also a former fellow of the third cohort.
The Digital Rights and Inclusion Learning Lab.
Yes, it was Paradigm Initiative. So I am here in this role as a consultant because I was a fellow. So this is a product of one of the initiatives of PIN. So far it has brought me here, that opportunity. I'm very grateful.
Thank you. We are grateful too. So it's a lot of thank yous in the room today. One for you, one for me, and definitely one for our listeners. You've been listening to the Paradigm Initiative podcast with me, Giyonze. This was beautiful, but like every good thing, it had to come to an end, and we leave you now. See you next time on the PIN podcast. Thank you.
Zambezi kunotirira mutima wa ubuntu ku Zambezi takulandilani Zambezi tirina mutima wa ubuntu ku kuzambezi. Takulandilani Zambezi.